So, I've been tuning into Saturn energies, and not so much on the physical body, and more so observing its nature and my perception of that nature. And so, they're having a Capricorn moon and an Aries sun. I find that somehow that they together at their best they can be very powerful, but when they need to understand each other. And so I've been doing a lot of that, because if you think about it, your inner child on some level, if not the emotional body, is very attached to the emotional body. But if your emotional essence is Capricorn, which is to be a boss and to be authoritative and to be paternal and just the patriarchy. That was the word I was looking for. That love comes in ways that might go against the way we've been taught, that it's looked at. I don't know how to explain it. It's like there's this idea in the world that this is what that means to be patriarchy. And so if your emotional body is controlled by that mindset, then you play out a role that doesn't even align with the true nature of the essence of that energy. And so, like for example, when you think of Saturn, at least me, when I used to think of Saturn, just the idea of a patriarchy automatically made me kind of see it in a masculine way. Even though subconsciously or on a deep level or just factually, logically, I knew it was a feminine sign. It doesn't play out in our reality as feminine, right? Because then you get corporations with old white men, rich white men, and that's really like you get like monopoly vibes of it. That's to me, that's the ideas that are projected of Capricorn. And it does influence and affect how Capricorn feminine moon or a Capricorn moon female might observe her emotions from that perspective. If it's not your own, if you're looking at your emotions based on the idea of what a Capricorn moon is. And I'm not saying that you're going out of your way to look at it and say, oh, if I'm supposed to feel like a Capricorn woman, then I'm going to behave in these ways because this is how Capricorn is described. No, it's not a conscious thing, but it becomes like an imprint of archetypal behavior that is associated with it, and it becomes habitual. So it's like you hear certain things, you identify as those things that are, like, for example, the archetype of the Capricorn being associated with the devil. It makes it easy to identify as a devil. I mean, not like, hey, look at me, I'm the devil. But when I do get into angry mode, or if I'm in an angry mood, I can totally hear myself say, I'm the devil. And it's like, I'm not trying to be that. That's not even who I am. Like, It's not even the intention behind how I speak. And so you can see that there's like that disconnect, right? Because it's like the mind is saying one thing, the mouth is saying another, the heart is feeling another, and the inner child is receiving in a completely different, perspective. And it's like, so there has to be like this integrated understanding of all these parts of all these archetypes that we carry and how they play out within our own physical reality. So it's like, once I started to acknowledge Capricorn as a mother that shields and protects her child and wants what's best for her child, and is stern but patient and sees and wants only the utmost best that this world can offer, right? But also so aware of how the world is looking at anything that isn't that, like a perfect structure of anything. People strive for perfection in everything. They strive for perfection in how we look. They strive for perfection in what we have. They strive for perfection in the idea of our lifestyle and what it's supposed to mean, our jobs, our careers. And people just put on these outfits and play the part. And behind the part, there's this essence that's being dismissed, or this essence of the person that is not being recognized or acknowledged, simply because there's no clarity that that part is even allowed to exist. You see, the word allowed is such a Capricorn thing. It's like, it's the rule maker. Like, what are you allowed to think? What are you allowed to feel? What are you allowed to want? What are you allowed to have? What are you allowed to create? What are you allowed to say? Everything is, what are you allowed to? And then it's like, and then with my Aries sun, it's like, it feels more like the innocent, naive, like, but why do I have to? Like, I can say whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. Who's going to tell me that I can't do whatever I want, or say what I want, or be how I want, or want what I want? Or why do I restrict myself wanting what I want? And so then the argument between the Capricorn moon, mother, and the Aries sun, it's like, wait a second. Somehow, I need to recognize what's the overall value that I'm needing in my own life, and what's the overall thing that I want to accept and receive and love and want. And so you accept and receive and love and want. You give permission to the things that you really want. So that aspect of you that, like in my case, my Aries sun, it doesn't understand or comprehend no. It's like, what do you mean no? There's no. Like, what do you mean wait? There is no wait. Like, that whole thing doesn't even like register for me to say like, oh, I need to wait to get this. But then there comes that Saturn that says, yeah, you do, because you don't have this. And then you go and figure out, fine, if I can get it this way, then I'm going to get it that way. If I can get it that way, then I'm going to get it this way. And you go in all these loops and hoops of ways that you're going to go and do what needs to be done to get your yes for whatever that is. Whatever it is that you say, I want this, and if I want this, I can have this. I want my damn yes. And then Saturn is like, and then you're not like even consciously doing it, It's just the brakes that are put in yourself that it's like, no, don't, you shouldn't do that. No, can't do that. No, that wouldn't be right. No, or, it's like all these reasons why there is a no. or all these reasons why not the best timing, or all the reasons why there's this thing that feels like a blockade. And then I start to realize, well, isn't Pluto in Aquarius right now, or going into Capricorn, right? Both ruled by Saturn. But with Aquarius, there's definitely that lighter vibe, because there's that, it feels like an escape of responsibility, or it feels like a charge that says, fuck it, let the disruption create something, like almost like allowing yourself to break through and to be like unconventional in every way about how you go about doing it. And it's like, this really goes against the norm. And it's like the high alerts go on, but then it's like Aries is sitting there like, what do you guys want me to do? Like, I want to go do whatever it is. Like, can we just do it? But then that Capricorn between my moon being Capricorn, but then Pluto being right now between Aquarius going into Capricorn, I feel like that pressure of something needs to, like, you just want something to like end, something that isn't working, or a way of doing things, or a way of structuring things that isn't working. And I believe it has to do with that whole integration. It's like, okay, we're either going to realize who we are here as a whole, and which aspects of us lead the way the best in our best interests. And that was a tangent that I don't know, I even want to go into any further because it pisses me off. Not really. I don't think it pisses me off. It's just, it shouldn't be so hard. And that's the thing. That's like such a Capricorn thing. But it's like, okay. They say you can't change how you feel, but you could change how you think about how you feel. You could change your perception about how you feel. So if I'm feeling like how I'm feeling is wrong or bad, and that's what we need the most to manifest is our emotions. Like, we really need to believe and feel that this action is good for us. But if I'm doing an action that Capricorn says, well, we shouldn't be doing that, there's a opposition of something there. There's some kind of like, wait. We're not agreeing here. And that's really how decision making makes you feel. It's like, are we all in it or not? We have to take into account all parts, because we can't function as a whole, as a corporation, as a team, as a family unit, as a system if every part isn't being provided the foundation to perform its function at its best. So you command it to be so. I command that every function has a foundation to perform at its best. And that gets registered into the body, that gets registered into the subconscious, that gets registered into the mind, that gets registered into the ecos, universe, whatever you want to call it. That gets registered, that intention. And now everything has to come from that. Everything has to come from that. And that changes the structural pattern of how you manifest. Because it has to. Because now everything is cohesive. If all of you is cohesive and all of you is in agreement, that all of you are feeling supported in your foundation, right? So if this is an office, a corporation, and you have the accounting department and you have the billing department, and they're all different. Customer service, management, they're all separate. But none of the teams or none of the groups are aware of the benefits of the other groups, or the gripes, I guess, of the other groups, and how they're where they are, how they can work together to benefit each other. If all the departments work together to benefit each other, and if every department knows what the function of each department is and understands that without one or the other, no one's going to be happy. So there is no such thing as inter-office conflict because there can't be. Only because if everybody's loving what they're doing and everybody's doing what they love and they're supported to do their best. In other words, this is like when you think of don't you hear that Apple has the structure of work that allows their employees the creative experience or allowance for creativity to flow. That is so necessary in everything. The allowance for creativity to flow. The problem with that people have in the 3D realm or in the physical matrix or whatever the fuck that is, in most corporations, is that they create these boxes that say, this is the role you're going to be in this unit, in this thing, and this is how you have to operate. This is what your level is supposed to look like, act like, be like, do like. And anything that deviates from that becomes an issue because it's unacceptable. Because then we can't categorize you and put you in a different box. Maybe you belong over there instead of over here. So just that inter-office conflict can take place. So that goes as far as you go to a function. Suddenly you feel underdressed or you feel overdressed. And it's why do I feel overdressed or underdressed? Who put the standards? Who said that in this function there's a dress code? And who created the dress code? Did you find out what the dress code was before you went there to make sure? And is your idea of the dress code the same as what they're saying it is? Because if casual, why do I care about this? Jesus. You know what I mean? Going to a picnic with your family is casual for you. It's comfortable for you. But if it was a work function picnic, that casual for you might not be acceptable in the work environment. They'll be like, oh dear, oh no, this is not appropriate for this function. And I'm not saying that you're doing anything wrong. I'm just saying that there are underlying rules that aren't clarified. And I hate that. I hate that in any environment. I hate that in relationships. I hate that in corporate policies. I hate that in everything. These underlying rules that they don't really tell you, but it's implied and you're supposed to know what they are. And it's who says I'm supposed to know? No, make that shit clear. Be really, really clear. And I think that's the same thing when we manifest. It's no, you need to be very, very clear. And all of you needs to very, very, very much be on board with that. Otherwise, you're not going to create it to the fullest capacity. There's going to be restrictions and blockage and blockades that you create simply because in your emotional vibration, there's hesitancy or there's resistance to getting it that looks like on the outside things that say no to us, whether that be the ability to get to where we want to go or to do what we want to do. Whatever in your life shows up that says you cannot. So instead of fighting it and trying to find ways, but yes I can, yes I can, yes I can, let me try it like this, let me try it like that. That's putting so much effort, because there's an unwillingness to look at what the resistance is about. Instead of trying to find all the ways to get it without addressing that resistance. So, that's my I gotta really ponder that one. Because when you think about it, it's like, wait a second. What created obstacles in my life in the first place? It's the idea that I can't do something. And it could start off with one reason. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, I would never do that. That resistance in this one area, it could be true and valuable and all that for you, but it could be so powerful that it affects the other areas of life. And that's just my own personal opinion, of course, of how I believe that manifestation can get hindered when we don't apply true, the best word I can come up with, cohesiveness with our totality. Mentally, our mind has to be focused. Like, that's why the importance of writing down what it is that you are creating, what it is that you are manifesting. And you're saying it as a matter of fact. You're saying it as it's something that already is here now. And you say it in gratitude. Thank you for this life. And this life, what I'm most grateful for is, and you speak of not as it is, as you want it to be, but saying so as it already is that. Knowing it is that. It's like if you were telling someone the ending of a movie, and they're like, oh, just tell me the ending of the movie because I'm not going to watch the movie. And you say, well, what happened was they lived happily ever after. Or, you know what I mean? Like, I know that sounds very cliche and very like small, minimalistic or whatever. But when you really think about it, put that in your position. Oh, and I lived happily ever after. How much resistance is there to even believe that, right? Because it's like, oh no, because I know the shoe's going to drop or something, blah, blah, blah. It never happens that way, blah, blah. So then you say, when you realize happily, and I lived happily ever after. Thank you that I lived happily ever after. And happily ever after. Forever after. After what? After that segment of your life. Meaning, this is what I'm manifesting. This experience as I see it. And you're saying it in gratitude as if it already has been. But all of you mentally has to agree. Emotionally, you have to feel that as if you've been living it forever. And it's just matter of fact. Of course, I always wake up and do my yoga. I always wake up and drink my tea. I always wake up and do a meditation ritual. I always wake up and connect to spirit. I always do that first before I start my day. I always greet my loved ones. I'm always enjoying my family, my company. I'm always enjoying what I'm doing. I'm always enjoying what I'm doing. I'm doing what I do because I love what I do. And what I do supports me really well. And I work with individuals. And by working with individuals, I'm referring to I collaborate with others. I engage with others. I interact with others. I create with others. I think with others. I speak with others. I engage in life with others in a way that is supported, that I enjoy, that is enhancing our spiritual growth. And by that is our life experience is manifesting greater things for us, greater experiences for us. It's like you can make this life so great. And greatness is what enriches your soul. What experiences enrich your soul the best? What places are you in? Who are the people you're with? And what are the things you're doing? And that's it. You're in the environment. You create the environment. You create that environment where all of you is cohesively in that space. And all of you in that moment can really feel that flow and stay in that flow so well in that flow that is what changes your external reality. Anyway, that's my message. I don't know why I went there, but I did. I hope you enjoyed. Take care.